Let's stick with Mr. McCray. You've criticized the mayor for that issue that you just said, and for also giving his approval to the sales of lots that are owned by the city at a great deal, and in some cases his friends have benefited. He says it's just to get all the stuff back on the tax rolls, but you've actually thrown the word corrupt around. Are you saying that City Hall is corrupt, and do you hold the mayor responsible for that?
Absolutely. And when I say corrupt, what I mean is corrupt in the sense that we're wasting money. I met with a school nurse this year. She's a school nurse at the Young Achievers Academy. Her budget allotment for all the school supplies for 575 kids is $250. $250. But meanwhile, the mayor is selling to his friend at the BRA a parcel of land worth $100,000 for $5,000. That $95,000 we're not getting is money that we're not spending in our schools, and that's what I'm saying. It's
so that's what you call corruption?
That's what I call corruption, wasting money. They're public officials that are there to protect our interests. There's other things going on, the backroom deals with the licensing board. Nobody's done anything except me writing a letter to the district attorney asking them to look into it. I have 2 elected officials in my district that have been indicted by the feds. That's corruption.
Mayor, do you call that corruption?
I take that's ridiculous what you said. It's not corruption. We're taking these parcels, putting them back on the tax rolls. We had 674 parcels of land that we sold. We have 2. And 2 out of 674 is not many. But also you talk about the school budget and supplies. Our actual numbers on budget increases for supplies went to $2.5 million over last year. So we're not cutting the supplies.
Your proposed budget this year was to cut the school book budget from $3 million to $2 million.
It didn't happen.
That came out of your office.
Maria, I would define it a slightly different way, but kind of in the same vein. It's kind of like your TV commercial. With all due respect, Mr. Mayor, the chair, the picture of the chair. Mayor, you've been sitting in that mayor's chair for 16 years, and it's almost like you've become the chair. And when you become the chair, what I'm saying is like the system is you. And, you know, we have to move beyond the way we're doing things now and enter a modern 21st century. And this is not the way that land is allocated, you know, in other cities that actually have a community planning department.
Right.
This is not the way, you know, the kind of who you know sort of culture really belongs in another century. And that's what we really have to move on from this year.
And let's just move on to Mr. Flaherty.
Thank you, Maria. And I think a valuable lesson here is I would hope that in the future that those parcels would be put out in the open, put online, have a public auction, notify the residents, make sure that every resident gets proper notice. And I think it also underscores that it needs to be less about one person in Boston. It needs to be less about ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings. It needs to be about putting people to work. And I think something I learned today that may underscore that is the developer and the builder are pretty close, if not imminent, to securing financing for the Filene's project. My hope would be that it's less about the ribbon cutting and the groundbreaking and more about getting people from the neighborhoods of Boston working again through the Boston residency job policy.
While I have you here, Mr. Flaherty, next question. Hundreds of thousands